At present, we Mortemia fans are witnessing the evolution of the COVID aftermath sessions, and I'm sure we would all concur given how strong of a foundation has been laid. We are eagerly anticipating new developments, hopefully soon, at least I am. But amidst the pause as we wait, we're going to be taking a departing retreat excursion of sorts to the recent past with the previous release, the Pandemic Pandemonium Sessions, and in fact marking our reintroduction to the fullness of this album. I say recent, given again the last single debut we had was just shy of a little under a year ago, and that was our last appearances here of that album. With 5 tracks remaining from the total of 12, 7 have been considered, in fact, on first impression bases on this channel before, ever since the What Else Is There Royksop cover, which I fell in love with, and everything since the Mortemia. I have fallen into a deep admiration of this project. I hope you will too if you've not yet been introduced. And I will set a baseline again for any initiate listeners of Morten Veland's solo work, a solo of sorts. But I think the return is warranted. The reasons are multifaceted, not just, again, as I've said many times, to credits of several artists of the European rock and metal variety that always necessitates an exploration. But in enjoying good music together, Mortemia presented such a wonderful, specific opportunity. And I've detailed this before, music for me is a favorite artistic language, and to enjoy it in company or provide opportunities for that, I think really enriches the listening process. It doesn't mean as much in isolation. It's fine, but it's just not the same to enjoy works on debut exploration together, which we're about to entertain. And I welcome the company of anybody, again, however you approach. Long-time Mortemia listener, maybe alongside me, that's how you were introduced, or any initiates, right? Anyone who's maybe heard the name in passing, maybe you're like, who's this Mortemia? What is it? What is this project? To set a baseline, again, for ease of access for you. Norwegian-based Gothic symphonic metal, the byproduct of Morten Veland's vision, who I regard as a musical visionary in the metal space, and I've seen that attribution thrown around by other fans as well, and I think it's deserved. Not just with Mortemia's regard, but let's say, for example, as well as Sirenia, another of his excursions, which I've absolutely loved. I've also, like Mortemia, just fallen in mad love with them. But Mortemia as a work, a solo project, as I said, of sorts, in construction, right? Morten Veland manages the musical side with some occasional vocal appearances, but the essence of Mortemia, again, what I've fallen just in a deep devotion to, as somebody who's taking a self-led excursion journey into the European rock and metal foray, and I really cannot get enough of that space, and maybe, again, this is a debut appearance for you and interaction with that space. I can't wait for you to start your journey here, perhaps. The opportunities Mortemia has presented according to what I term the Mortemia model, a networking map of sorts, I've regarded as vital. Not just, again, being introduced where I was at one point to Morten Veland, but carrying that journey on through the collaborative framework of what Mortemia represents, where Morten Veland manages more of the musical side, again, the vocal appearance, and a leading female vocalist from another rock band, typically of European origin with some deviation, perhaps, from time to time. That process of learning new names is extremely vital to me. And I've done that with several artists in the past that have appeared, again, in those previous considerations, where I've started with Mortemia, let that be the initial work that's introduced me, and then we carry that on forward to other groups, right? Who is this artist? Let's just pick out a name here, like Erika Olsen, for example, right? She was an appearance on the Lost Horizons track. I love that one, right? You learn the name, and then you look into, what credits does this artist have? Oh, Metalite, I should go explore them, which I have. But I've done that, again, to the credit of every other artist, at least at present, or I plan to, I haven't gotten to them yet. That respective journey of first interaction via Mortemia and maybe eventual interaction of other associated credits, God willing, will be perhaps carried on via the Enigmatic sequel. Well, for sure it will be, as we introduce ourselves to the initial piece that started the Pandemic Pandemonium Sessions. I wonder again if by name that's trying to be like a bit of an Easter egg to the past of Misery Mortem. Again, that was the first album from Mortemia so many years ago, and then this is the subsequent sophomore release, reintroducing Mortemia to the world. I guess it's a project if you want to phrase it that way. But if appearances today, again, that's the essence of every track via the Pandemic Pandemonium Sessions, we have Madeleine Lilijestam as the collaborative artist. I hope I'm pronouncing the name correctly. I welcome clarification down below if I'm not. She is, I would imagine, of heightened expectation on arrival here, interaction, given she's not only a Swedish artist, which automatically is promising there, given certain Swedish groups I've humored and what strength I've seen there independently, but she's appeared not by her own name, but by her group name in previous comments. Eleine. So automatically I'm like, point of connection. It's not entirely fresh, where some of the other artists will be looking at more so are. But I'm curious, Madeleine Lilijestam, let's witness her together for the first time, perhaps. Or for those of you who are knowledgeable of their craftsmanship via Eleine, or maybe other work she's done, you're getting the perspective of somebody who's not yet been formally introduced, but I am via Mortemia. The legacy carries on to the same respect I've given every other artist that has appeared. I like doing that with Mortemia. Again, like I said, the Mortemia model. I term it that for a reason, and I really have envied the journey. So to continue it on and complete our run of the Pandemic Pandemonium sessions together with just 5 remaining works, it made sense. And to not forget any of our artists, right? I give credit to 7. Why not complete the run and not forget anybody or leave anyone behind? Madeleine Lilijestam is getting the respect of that today. But it's fun to continue on Mortemia's sake. If you've not yet been introduced, I think this is going to be quite strong. Again, on promise, this album has delivered for me in what we've witnessed. I was trying to give an approximate percentage, but I'm not a good math guy. Certainly not spontaneously. Let's just launch ourselves into the work and bear witness together. Strong symphonic opener. I love symphonic metal, so it instantly clicks. And the delicate piano keys are a nice touch. And good choir backgrounds as well, deeply atmospheric. Feels like a timely piece on lyrics, at least what I can make out. Consider Pandemic Pandemonium. That's soft. And the track decides to reduce its energy to match. Nice tragic key shifts, I like that placement. Oh, that's beautiful. And that's signature Mortemia on style. Those independent key strikes are... As an album opener, this is pretty significant. Again, the creativity of exploration. Morten does this all the time. But the shifts on this number are really interesting. Really well-established mood on this one. Again, in the symphonic territory, there's a great versatility of application. This track embodies that beautifully. Even on the vocal placements, again, how it's matched on musical tone. Works. I like how that's condensed. Differentiation on verse construction, though, again, employs the same agents. I love those key strikes, though. It works so well. That pattern, it's uneven. No, it's matched, but again, to condense those and remove the pauses. I like this piece a lot on music. It really works for me on scoring. Even some strings. If you've never experienced symphonic metal before, again, wide field of tools. And to see how much is brought in here is really incredible. Because this album, well, I mean the album, yes, but this number is particularly dense. Oh, Swift. Only 2 chorus refrains. Interesting. Went by a little faster than I expected. Good mood on that. As an introduction, if you're familiarized to Mortemia, dominant key familiarity. This definitely fits the mold of his work, and I find it a recognizable sound, whether it be Mortemia or Sirenia. I think it applies. I've seen some numbers that intersect as well on feeling like, which project am I listening to? Like similar key patterns, especially. The shifts, though. It's a number that on rough appearances on First Entertainment, you might find a bit disorienting, especially on your first interaction of it. But then when you consider it in reflection, or even you see it evolve in front of you, it does have this unity feel, right? Everything clicks and it works, but there are just certain choices here that really shift your attention, right? The uneven pacing, those key strikes, I love that. And even again, how that was changed in the second refrain on that measure. A beautiful, bountiful creativity here. And as an album opener, I think it's quite strong. Like, this is your first engagement piece and your tease to what you'll be welcoming with the Pandemic Pandemonium session should you choose to wander further into it, which we're going to, and I highly recommend it if you've not. What we've entertained has been great, but considering again the evolution of this album from this origin point is really something special. I like that work. Incredibly dynamic. And key, again, Mortemia traits, as I said, the deaf vocals from Morton, that always works, matched with, again, Madeleine's application on the ballad side. It's like a yin-yang balance, but it's natural. And I forget, I did write, I have this rough guide of all the artists I'm consulting. I looked at background information just to get on a quick look-see. So Madeleine, Eleine, again, not introduced other than by name credits, Swedish in origin, symphonic metal. Okay, there's the connection point on a genre. I'd be curious though to see maybe if there's a consistency on connection, even if when you say symphonic metal, that varies, right? I think a lot of people who might not necessarily be engaged as religiously as I am with the metal genre have that presumption that, oh, it's all hard, it's all rough. And yes, there are cues of that in this song. But even you can see there's a versatility specifically within the symphonic field. You do have those more aggressive numbers, and maybe you have some that intermix different styles, and you have others that tend to be more ballad-driven. I love the feel of the symphonic metal. Whatever you see, again, the atmosphere, anything that mimics an orchestral appearance, I absolutely just gravitate to immediately. So this number, like every Mortemia piece, just instantly clicks, but the reach of it is really creative. Independently, it's a strong origin number to introduce you, I think. But as I was saying, past experiences with Mortemia and the collaborative appearances have been interesting to witness in that these pieces do serve as a teaser to talents, right? But then when you explore those other names, they broaden out in your field of experience. Let's say, for example, Ambo Vuvahis from Zandria. I remember being introduced there, again, similarly to Madeleine. Higher ballad inflection, very light voice even. But then when you go into Zandria and you witness them, you're like, wow, Amber can not only do the melodic slash ballad, she can do opera, she can do a scream. Like, this is incredible. There's a richness to the performers that Morten Veland brings onto this work that's really fascinating me. So I'd be curious to see going forward, and perhaps in a future opportunity with Eleine, we might witness it together, and see if there is a bit of an expansion on this first tease. But at least I think she can do ballad quite well. It's a beautifully soft articulation of good tones and great key shifts woven in that really fit the mood of the number. It's an extremely balanced piece. Again, when you look on it in retrospect, everything clicks, even if it might feel again a bit split apart and adrift in certain facets where there's different key shifts, pacings, tonal shifts. It all clicks though by the time you get to the end of a number. It's really good work. Solid first introduction. You have not yet been introduced to Mortemia. I think it's a great taste to the potential of what you're going to witness with me as we explore more of this album. But the Pandemic Pandemonium Sessions really is a great treat. I'd love to hear if you feel the same way based on interaction with this piece down below. And again, as I always say, from whatever angle you approach, familiarized listener or first-time witness, I'd love to hear where you approach. Our initial work to reintroduce us to Mortemia via the Pandemic Pandemonium Sessions, and certainly not our last, with 4 more opportunities to round out the full journey of exploring this album together. Next up, I believe, let me get the order of tracks right here because I don't have it listed currently. That would be The Hour of Wrath. Track number 3 on the album, Following Death Turns a Blind Eye. What we've witnessed, and that was with Marcella Bovio, and that was a great number. So, actually on key, considering that just as a quick remark, from the Enigmatic sequel to the Death Turns a Blind Eye numbers, great transference. We'll have to see where The Hour of Wrath goes, but I'm liking this, your return back to a fun album that I explored in great depth thus far. But to take the full journey with you, and to perhaps compel an interest for you from Mortemia to set that path for you of approach, I think we're in for a fun ride here together. Thank you so much for watching this video. Before you bounce, feel free to drop a like and comment, subscribe to this channel with a ding on the bell, and share this video with your friends. And consider checking out the description here. There you'll find links to my other channels, as well as addresses to my other social media accounts and ways you can help support my work if you feel so inclined. May God bless you, and looking forward to when our paths cross again.